Hello, welcome back to Mad Props. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to kind of restructure our show a little bit here. Don't worry, I know there's been a lot of restructuring going on in the last few months and stuff like that, but I kind of want to get more content out there. And even though I really want this to be an interview show and I want to bring people stories and stuff like that, it's just been tough to get people constantly and consistently with how small of a podcast we are. So we're going to switch it up a little bit and make it so there's more content to put out there. So on this one is episode 41, and we're gonna go over some of my courts and comics that I've been doing. If you've been following our Instagram at MadPropsPod or myself at Chris Schnabel, that's Schnabel. You can follow either one of those, and you can see courts and comics have been going off pretty good. So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. To start, make sure you follow Mad Props Pod on Instagram and Twitter. That's where you get a lot of the updates for the show. You can also follow Schnabel Studios on any platform to get all of this stuff as well. On YouTube, make sure you subscribe to Schnabel Studios. That's where all these podcasts are put in video form. If you're listening, hello. I'm going to try to explain things as good as I can for the listeners, but also try to get yourself to some video because I'm going to be showing the comics that I got and stuff like that. So, and there's going to be photos from each place I went to and things like that. So definitely make sure you're in on that. Make sure you go follow Schnabel Studios so you can get all the content, man. And also go to patreon.com/Schnabel Studios if you want to help support the show, support these comics and comics and courts. It'd be really appreciated. I really enjoy doing it. I don't do it for the content. I don't do it. I started posting it to promote this show because I just thought it'd be good promotion for this show. But in all honesty, that's what I do every time I go somewhere anyway. So I was like, why not just start documenting it? It makes sense to do that because it's something I'm already doing. So let's hit it. Let's do this show. Let's get to the intro and let's get going. Mad Props. We're back. So welcome back, Chris Schnabel, your host here. This is episode 41. We're almost to the big 50. I need to figure out what I want to do for that big episode 50. Obviously been through a lot of changes and stuff like that, but still 50 episodes, that's pretty legit. Thank you for joining us again. If you haven't saw it already, it was about a month ago. We had Scott Koblish on. You could see, right, I'm trying to find it right there. He did a rendition of my girlfriend Mary and myself as Deadpool at a Comic-Con we went to recently, about a month or two ago. It was awesome. Great dude. Definitely check that one out. I also want to give a shout out to Julius Thomas III. He was the guest before Scott Koblish. This weekend of recording today is Monday the 8th. I don't know if it'll be on the 8th or 9th, this podcast, but today's Monday the 8th. He is wrapping up his Hamilton tour. So I want to give golf claps and shout out to him for doing such a great job. He's an awesome dude. So I think what we're going to do, I'm going to talk a little bit about the places that I've gone, the courts that I saw and stuff like that first, and then we're going to go over some of the comics that I've collected. Not all of them that I've collected over that time, but most of the ones that I've collected over that time. Sorry if I'm looking down. I'm looking at the notes just like, anybody would for this. So let's go right into it. The first one, if you want to follow along, if you're listening and you want to follow along, the best way to do that is to go to my Instagram or the Mad Props Instagram. Mad Props is Mad Props Pod on Instagram or Twitter. They're on both to see it. Or you can go to mine, which is Chris Schnabel, ChrisSchnabel, and you can follow along on each of these. I'll have them pinned to the top so you can see all of them in order. You're going to have to go back, obviously, because we're going to start from the beginning, but you can go back in order and stuff like that. Where's my notepad? Sorry, I know that's like not what I wanted to do in the middle of this. I'll just do it on here. Sorry, I forgot my notepad. Anyway, so we're going to start from the beginning. We'll go through each of the photos. I'll try to describe each photo for people that are listening and can't hear it. But again, if you really want to follow along, you can go on to our Instagram page, and you could see it there. So let's get started here. So the first one we have is in Middletown, New York. I grew up in Middletown, New York, Wardsboro, New York to be exact, but I grew up in Middletown, New York. So this was the logical first stop. I had to visit home recently, so I was like, this would be a great spot to do the first one. Now, mind you, when I was growing up, this was not the comic book shop that was around. This was a new comic book shop for me at this time. When I used to go, there was this flea market down on Dawson Avenue that sold comics. That's where I would go if I really wanted to get comics. So the first photo here is me at Main Street Comics in New York. They were great. They had just about everything you're looking for. If you're looking for comics, if you're looking for D&D, if you're looking for Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, graphic novels. And one thing that was crazy is the Archie comics. They were like the main sponsor of the Archie comics, which was so bizarre to me. Like, it was just weird. But you could see all that. I picked up Judgment Day, which we'll go over in a little bit. Actually, why don't I was going to do that in an order. So I'm going to be tossing around a little bit. So I got Judgment Day. It's right here. This is Marvel's like next big thing. Actually, I have two of them. I have the free comic book day one as well, but we'll just stick with this one for now. So this is the next big Nexus event for Marvel. I picked it up while I was there. It just came out the day I actually went, which was amazing. I believe that I posted July 24th. I don't remember if I went on July 24th, though. I probably did. And that's what I picked up there. If you look through the photo here, so that's the first photo I have. The second one I have, one of the variant covers of Scott Koblish. I thought it was funny. The first one I do, I find a Scott Koblish, The Secret History of the War on Weed, which was just funny to me because, you know, it was the first one I decided to do, and we find one of those 1,000 variant covers, which we all know from the last podcast can get pretty pricey, which was really cool. But when we go to the court side of it, the blacktop side of it, the Mammoth Town Park in Bloomingburg is somewhere I grew up on. I went to camp there in the summers. I played a lot of basketball there. I used to play baseball there. My friends and I actually started a travel team with my parents and a bunch of other people. We started a travel team called the Wardsboro Wolves. That was our home field. So that one I grew up on. It was completely redone from the last time I was really around. It was really nice to have the nice blacktop. The nets were broken, but then again, camp's been going on, so that's kind of just what happens. It has one court before hoops. It has like a small court and then the large court. All double rimmed, which was really unfortunate. But it's just a really nice spot, and it's really close to where I live. So that's the first one we have on the comics in courts. I used to call it comics in blacktops, if you wonder why I said blacktop in the next one. So in this next one here, I visited Buffalo to see my friend Chandler, who I haven't seen in a while, and his girlfriend Gabby. Great people, some of my favorite people on this planet. He works at Buff State. He's a football coach out there. So I was in New York for a little bit. I was like, I have to go see him. So that's what I did. I went to go see him. And while I was there, I went to this place called the Collector's Inn. Now, it's funny to talk about the Collector's Inn. Maybe not hilarious, but they don't exist anymore. That Saturday, I didn't go on a Saturday, but the Saturday that followed my visit was their last day open. They are now closed. If you read the Instagram post, so the Instagram is me holding a Secret Wars like sticker book that I thought was really cool. In the first photo there, I say in my description, like, I got 3 books for under $4. It was crazy. That's because they were trying to get rid of everything because they were closing. So it was funny that I said that, because that's why they were doing that, because they were trying to get rid of everything. So I did get that. Some of the other books I got there, which I don't have in there, are, hold on, these are the books I really got there. So this is number 1. I already had that one. So these are the Banner of War series by Donny Cates. Donny Cates can do no wrong at this point. He's unbelievably amazing with his writing. But this is 2, 3, and 4. I already had one. I bought one and it came out, and I know Hulk 8 comes out soon, so I don't have that one yet. I got all of these there. They were like $1 a piece because they were trying to get rid of everything. It was very sad for that, but for me, it was nice because, and here's one. I already had this one though. Let me move it over. They had a couple nice variants that I should have probably picked up, but it's okay. So it was a lot of fun to go there and get the comics, but it was funny because I was like, oh, they're so cheap. That's crazy. And that's why they were so cheap, because they were trying to get rid of everything. So then I went to Buff State to play basketball. Obviously, I just told you Chandler works at Buff State. So they're the Buff State Bengals. It was their rec court. It was a lot of fun to be in there. I was in there by myself one day. I went back another day, did a couple runs with Chandler. With some other people that were there, and it was a fun little spot to be at. It was cool visiting his college. It was cool seeing where he works. It was cool being able to play in the college courts. I like seeing the rec courts of other colleges. You know, I've seen New Haven, I've seen Gonzaga, I've seen a couple other ones, but it's fun. I've seen Florida and Boston College and Harvard, but it's fun to see like other ones. It's fun to see what other people are dealing with or playing with and stuff like that. So that was Buffalo. Buffalo was a lot of fun. Because I was in Buffalo, I had the opportunity to go to Syracuse on my way home, going back downstate to my parents' house. So the first place I stopped at was called, I gotta remember, I think it was called Play the Game, Read the Story. That sounds about right. I'm trying to look for the picture here. Yeah, Play the Game, Read the Story. It's a long title. This place was like mind-blowing going in. It was huge. Huge place. It's like kind of like a hole in the wall. It's by like the spaghetti shop in Syracuse, away from the college a little bit. I actually had an interview that day. On my way home, I was like, I'm not going to make it in time. I stopped in Syracuse. This is actually the reason I stopped in Syracuse. I stopped in Syracuse to do my interview. I went into the Syracuse library, did it there, and then went out to a court and hooped, and went to a comic book shop to look at some comics. So if you're looking at the Instagram, you see the building. It's a brick building. It says Play the Game, Read the Story. I found another issue. I found actually that wasn't the only issue of The Secret History of the War on Weed. There was a fat stack of them. So if you're looking for that comic, call them up. You should be able to find it. One of my favorite runs right now is the new Spider-Man. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. So this is one of my favorite ones right now is the Zeb Wells. The Zeb Wells story, or arc, I guess. He's doing the annual now. This is the 900 Legacy issue. This is the cover I decided to go with. I couldn't find any of the really famous ones that are really selling for like $9,000 already. They were like limited copies, like 50 copies were made, 500 copies were made. So I like this one a lot. If you look, I'm trying to get it without the glare. You can see he had all the villains, the main villains are on there. He's taking photos. It's Peter Parker, of course. He's taking photos. You got to love that. So that's what I picked up there. Let me describe it a little further for people listening. Spider-Man sitting on what looks like a top of a telephone pole. There's some pigeons sitting at the bottom. It's kind of like a sketchy type drawing. He has a satchel with stickers or pins of all there's Venom. There's actually Deadpool on there. There's the Green Goblin, Octopus, Black Cat. There's Pizza, obviously Pizza Delivery. Sinister Six, which if you read the issue, you know why that's on there. Sandman, Scorpion. It has a little Spider-Man tag on it, and then he has a camera that he's pointing because he's Peter Parker, and that's what made him big. So that's a little bit of that. Then I went to Paul Seymour Playground, which again was a little off the campus. It was pretty nice. It was a nice court. It was caged in. I love caged in courts. I was gonna say if you know me, but you might not. So it's something you can learn about me. I love caged in courts because when you miss or something like that, it just goes off the cage, comes back in. You're not chasing it 50 miles away. Single rimmed, very nice. It had actually a caged soccer too, so a street soccer court, which was pretty cool. But the whole thing was covered in glass, and that was just not great. And the sprinklers were spraying on the court on the other side of the court. I don't know if you could see it in the photo. So the photo I'm showing is me on the court in the cage. You could see if you see it. It's very nice. It was a little off balance, which was fine. But the court was actually not too bad. The court was pretty nice. It just rained too, so it's not really fair to talk about how wet the court was, because if you look and see water spots, it did also just rain. So that can also do it. So after all that, I got on a plane. I came back to Spokane, Washington. Obviously, I had to come back here eventually, right? So I came back to Spokane, Washington, and I visited Merlins, which Merlins is the place. That is the place. If you come to Spokane, that's the place you want to go. The comic book shop is great too, and we'll talk about that soon. But Merlin's is the place to go. It really is. That's the place you want to be if you want to visit a place in Spokane. It's downtown Spokane. It's connected to a bar and a pizza shop, which is awesome. You can go get some pizza, go get a comic, go get a drink, and then there's an antique shop all the way at the end. The whole strip is owned by the same person. They're really cool. They're down to earth. They're willing to talk with you, willing to help you, and all that stuff. So it's definitely a place you want to check. I know, talking with Julius Thomas again, that's the place we talked about in his episode as well, when we were talking about comic book shops in Spokane. Merlin's is the place to go. D&D, Magic, board games, Pokemon, comic books, plushies, and it's like not like, it doesn't have like that up vibe. It doesn't look like a chain. Like, it looks like a mom and pop shop, because that's kind of what it is. And if you look through the pictures, I mean, in the entrance, there's all the fake plants, or maybe they're real plants. They might be real plants. It says Merlin's. It has a schedule that talks about like Mondays D&D, Tuesdays Magic the Gathering, stuff like that. And it's just a nice little vibe place. It almost seems like a hole in the wall, but it's really not, because it's connected to all that stuff. So for my first visit back, I figured I had to go shoot around at GU, which, spoiler alert for future courts and comics, or comics and courts, it's not my only time at Gonzaga. If you see the Instagram post, I'll read it for you if you're just listening, but I'll explain a little bit. So I went to what's called it's the old kennel. It's now called the Players Court. It's where a lot of the athletes' court. It's where a lot of the athletes go. They have a lot of if you look in the background of the pictures, like the picture of me standing there, you can see the hoop in the back, and then you can see a bunch of bikes, like cardio bikes. The cardio bikes are there because that's where a lot of cardio is done for the Gonzaga athletes. So that's like the athletes' court. That's where they go if they want to get some shots up without having to go to the RFC, which is more of like the students' court. And obviously the kennel and the practice facility for the Bulldogs is always for basketball players. So I stopped by the old kennel. I do love going to Gonzaga. I always love being back there. I really enjoyed my time there. So being able to play on that court, I haven't really played on that court a lot, so it's kind of fun. Even the kennel, which wink wink might be in the future. Even the kennel, I've been able to play on that before. So like being able to play on a court I've never played on before was pretty fun. That was the first time. I've done it a couple times now. That's the first time I did the shoot turnaround point, which I've got a lot of questions, and I'll answer right here. It took me 3 chances, okay? 3 chances to do that. On the third one, I finally did it. And you know what's funny is on the second one, and I have video proof of this, I actually did it. I turned around and made it, but I kind of banked it a little bit, or maybe I hit it off the back iron or something and went in, and I thought I missed, so I turned around like I missed, and I had no idea until I was checking the takes later. And I saw the first one I missed. I knew I missed. I heard that one missed. The second one I thought I missed, but I actually made it, so I should have continued on. And then the third one I made. So it actually took me 3 times, but I was actually 2 for 3 in those 3 times, which is very funny. I think that's very funny, at least. Maybe other people don't. At Merlin's, sorry, I didn't do what I get at Merlin's. So these 2 are from Merlin's. This is the new Fantastic Four issue 2, the new Fantastic Four issue 3. Actually, issue 3 I just picked up recently, but I did pick it up from Merlin, so I figure why not put it in this one. I'm trying to fit myself in here. New Fantastic Four issue 2. The new Fantastic Four is Wolverine, Ghost Rider, Hulk, and SpiderMan. And both covers just have them on the cover. The first one's white. The second one's blue. There's nothing really crazy about either cover for people listening. You can look it up. There's nothing. I have the variant of both. That's why there's really nothing in the background. They're both variant issues. And then, since we're talking about the new Fantastic Four, this one is a variant issue that is print 1 of whatever. I got this from Comic Tom's Mystery Box. So if you're not subscribed to that, and I'm not sponsored by this, by the way, I just enjoy Comic Tom's Mystery Box and the stuff he has. He does a lot of giveaways, so follow him on Instagram. Comic Tom's Mystery Box. That's where I got this one from. And that's how I started the collection in the first place of the new Fantastic Four, because I saw Comic Tom's Mystery Box. I really enjoyed it. I got that one in it. I really enjoyed that. So that's where I got that from. You can look through the photos if you want to see more photos from that. So that was Merlins. So the next one we got is Spokane Valley. So Spokane Valley is near and dear to me. Spokane Valley is near and dear to me. When I first moved to Spokane and I first was at Gonzaga, the Valley is where I lived. 1 second, sorry. I could cut that out, but I'm not going to. The Valley is where I lived. And this was right in the heart of COVID. So, like, there was not much that you couldn't really do much unless you wanted to. I was one of those people that I didn't want to get sick. I was doing a lot. I was working a lot. I was very broke, so I didn't have a lot of money. I had to work. So if I missed days, I would be, like, worried. So the comic book shop, this is the first one of the chain. There's 3 comic book shops in Spokane, or the comic book shops in Spokane. I can tell you right now, in my series, I will only be visiting 2 because one doesn't really have any comics in it. One is more like collectibles and it's more collectibles and what's it called? Graphic novels. So I'm not really gonna go to that one, but there will be another one. It'll show up, trust me. So this one, I don't know if I got anything from, I think this one right here. I don't have it actually pictured, so if you're looking at the pictures, you're not going to see this. But wait, not this one. Sorry. If you're not looking at the pictures, you're not going to see this. But Daredevil #1, not a variant issue. It's Legacy 649. So the next one's going to be 650. I got this bad boy there. I'm a huge Daredevil fan. Why didn't I take a picture with it, you ask? I don't know. I think I just took King in Black and Shazam or Black Adam, and I just did that. I don't know. So the issue is Daredevil #1 of the new run of Daredevil. It's him kind of crouched on a statue or a building. Rain's pouring on him. If you know Daredevil, you know everything's sad. So that was the Daredevil that I ended up going with in this trip. I don't think I took a picture with it just because I think I got a last minute, to be honest with you. I don't think I really planned on getting it. But then the court I went to, I actually want to talk more about the court because during the dog days of COVID, I feel like that's the best way to say it. 2020 to 2021, the Pinecroft Business Park is where I lived. It's where I lived. I lived at that place. That's where I really started getting my basketball together. I was not good. Like, I was okay when I came to Spokane, but for people that don't know, I went through a huge weight loss transformation. I weighed 400 pounds in the beginning of 2020. I started working out in January 2020, got hurt, picked it back up in March of 2020. And I now weigh 215 pounds. I lost almost 200 pounds, and basketball became a big reason for that. I did a lot of other stuff. I worked out a lot. I ran a lot, but basketball I did almost every single day, and I still to this day do almost every single day for like an hour. So by the way, if you're ever in Spokane or if I come to your city, let me know. We can hoop. You can come to one of the courts with me. But this is where I played. There was never anybody there. It's always an empty park. Always an empty park. It's in the middle of this big industrial place. Like, there's all factories and businesses there and stuff like that. No one's ever there. So I was able to really work on stuff. I had no shot at the time. Like, my shot was okay. My layups were terrible. I had no moves, no post moves, terrible defense. And this is where it all came together for me. And I got better and better. And now I'm okay. I'm an okay player. I can hold my own playing basketball now, which is fun. And if I do get heated up, I can be a pretty good scorer. So The last thing I'll say about this one is I had people ask about the blue wrap on my arm. I just had a physical. I think I say it in there too. I just had a physical. No big deal. That's just what it was. And I want to give a shout out to the comic book shop. Again, they shouted out the shirt that I was wearing. So for people that are listening, when I went to the comic book shop, I was wearing a Super Mario Sunshine shirt from the Mario collection that came out a couple of years ago. My girlfriend Mary got it for me, and it's amazing. I love that shirt, and I wore it to that one, and they actually, in the post, shouted out the shirt. So just give another shout out to them. So we have two more in this series. The first one is, not the first one. The next one is in Coeur d'Alene. So Coeur d'Alene's in Idaho. It's about 20 to 30 minutes from Spokane. Super beautiful city, or town, I guess you would say. It's right on the lake, Coeur d'Alene Lake. And that's where we went the other day. And obviously we went there, had to do a comics and courts. So the place we went for comics was called the Entertainmart. It's the only comic book shop I can find. Maybe I didn't do too much. I didn't do like the craziest amount of research, but it was the only one I could find. It was a really cool place. It's like a resale place in a comic book shop. You can get DVDs, VHSs, old games, old systems. They had the PS5 there for $750. No thanks. They obviously had comic books, old comic books. The old comic books were priced really well. They're about $1 to $2 each. You can get collectibles. You can get D&D, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, sports cards. They basically had everything you'd want to find. It was exactly what you would think an Entertainmart would be. Just everything you would be looking for. It was almost like a flea market. It was like an electronics flea market. That's the best way to put it. But it was really cool. I don't think I got anything there. Oh, yes, I did. Sorry. It's just not over here. So I didn't get a comic there, but I got this amazing book for people listening. It's called Marvel the Hip Hop Covers. I was contemplating buying this there the whole time. I was like, I'd probably get cheaper on Amazon. I know that's an awful thing to say. This was cheaper there. So this is like a coffee table book. I'm going to go to probably one of my favorite ones, if I can find it in a quick amount of time here. But this was it. This was the book. I was like, this is so cool. I have to buy this. I can't not buy this. So I didn't get a comic book there, but I did get a comic book related thing. And where is the Miles Morales one? The Miles Morales Nas cover is the greatest one. For people listening, sorry, I know you probably hear the pages turning. You're like, I can't see. I'll explain it once I find it. But I saw this and I was holding on to it. I had a couple comics too. Like there's a Batman 9.8 cover. I'll just do this one because I don't want to keep looking through the whole book while we're doing this. There's a Batman 9.8 white cover that was like $20, but I ended up not going with it. Sometimes when I go to these places, I only want to get one thing because I don't want to have an addiction. So this is the one I'll show you. I'll explain it for the people that see it. You see what it is. For the people that don't see it, it's the Carter, but it's called the Parker. It's by Spidey, obviously, because it's SpiderMan. It says the Parker 2. It's the Carter 4 cover. SpiderMan has the graduation cap and gown on. It's so cool. This is just such a cool book. You can get it on Amazon. It's very expensive. It was not expensive where I got it. That's why I loved it so much, and I picked it up there. For the courts, we went to the Coeur d'Alene City Park, which is one of the two big basketball places in Coeur d'Alene. The other big basketball place is right down the street, I guess. Someone told me, but these courts were super nice. They're a little banged up, like they could definitely use a repave, but nothing major, like nothing where I wouldn't say go play there. Like if you're in Coeur d'Alene, it'll work out. My favorite part is it's directly on the water, which is amazing. Like it's directly on the water, which was so cool. Has two courts, both double rimmed. Obviously, like I said, some cracks, but it's a great place where you can go hoop and then just jump straight in the water because you'll walk 5 feet and get to the water. So, and this one was very special to me because my girlfriend Mary was there. She's the one that took the pictures. She also played a little basketball with me, and we got to hang out there the whole day. So that was a lot of fun. So that was Coeur d'Alene. And that brings us almost to the end. This is the last place. This was just posted on Monday. So it's either going to be the day you're listening, if I post that day, or the next day. I believe I'm going to post this on Monday. So I know it's very indecisive, but the last place I visited for this series was the second comic book shop, which is the main one. That's the one that's going to be, that's the only other one we're going to do. Like I said, we're only going to do 2 comic book shops. This one's on Division Ave or Division Street, or it's on Division. I just know it's called Division. I don't know which one of those it is, but it's on Division. It's comic book shop. The comic book shop. It's the main store, so it's the biggest one of all of them. It has so much selection, crazy amount of selection. So if you're looking for selection, this is the spot to go to in Spokane. I will say one thing: they do mark up pretty quickly. I noticed on some of them, like I would go in and then a week later, I would look for another one. It'd already be marked up. So if you're someone that doesn't like when comic book shops do that, you might not like this place, but you're not going to find a better selection in Spokane. There's a lot of places to go. And it has everything you're looking for too. There's some D&D, there's some games, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, all that stuff, all that fandom stuff that you would think you would find is there. I have comics I bought there. My nose is so stuffed, I apologize. So I bought this. There's nothing special about this Invincible one. I just really like the cover a lot. It's probably just going to be one I hang up. You can see like behind me, I have stuff I hung up and stuff like that. It's just going to be one I hang up. So, and then you can see, I pointed out the second Judgment Day from Free Comic Book Day. If you're looking, that's on there too. I did get the Free Comic Book Day one there as well, because I missed the Judgment Day comic when I did Free Comic Book Day. So that's the comic book shop on Division. And then the final court we're going to talk about in this is the court, like literally if you want to try to find me and I'm not home, go to Thornton Murphy Park, or as I just call it, Murphy Park, or I call it the one by the Trader Joe's. It's in the South Hill of Spokane, right down the street from my house, like not even a mile from my house. It's one of the nicest parks in Spokane. One of the nice courts in Spokane. It just got repainted, so I'm going to try to describe it a little bit for people that are listening. It has ocean blue around it, and then in center court and around the perimeters are like a map style of land. So it's like islands. Now, I don't know exactly what they're supposed to be. I'm sure it's supposed to represent something that I just haven't looked into, so I apologize if it has something there that I just haven't looked into, but it's the ocean vibe with the map feel. The hoops are great. There's some top-notch hoops, single-rimmed. It's a great place to go play, like during the day, but at night, sometimes you can get some runs in. One thing that kind of stinks about that court is it's a lot of young, for me, it's not stinks about the court, it stinks for me. It's a lot of young kids that'll go there to play, so like you're not going to do runs with 12-year-olds unless you just want to feel like LeBron James, but there's no winning in that. Like you either dominated against a 12-year-old or you get dominated by a 12-year-old. So it's like, why would you want to do that? So, but it's a great place to get some runs sometimes. There's different people that go there, and it's a really cool court. It's one of my favorite ones just because it's right down the street and I use it all the time. I love that it's single rim too, because like as much as double rim helps you with your game, it's always nice to be able to shoot on a single rim and not have to worry about swishing it every single time. So that's what we got for today. The last thing I'll say is I finally started reading Invincible. As you saw, I had one of the Invincibles. I've gotten pretty far into it so far. It's fantastic, and it has a really good show on Amazon Prime. So the Amazon Prime show is very parallel to the comic, but there's a lot of big differences. So I really enjoyed it a lot. I'm excited to see what they're going to do in the show, because there's one major plot that I'm on right now that definitely can't happen in the show, but I'm not going to spoil anything. No spoilers. So we do have some guests lined up. I can't say any of them because nothing's confirmed yet, and I don't want to jinx anything, to be honest. It's not that I can't say it. I just don't want to jinx anything. But we should have some guests, but I think I'm going to do a lot more of this kind of style where I'll talk about the courts and comics, or we'll just talk about some other stuff. But just to get some content out there, I'm very excited to keep the content going. So this was another episode of Mad Props. Make sure you follow us at Mad Props on Instagram and Twitter. You can find us on there. Follow Schnabel Studios on Instagram and Twitter as well, and Facebook or wherever else you want to get it. And you can find all the content there. You can follow me if you'd like at Chris Schnabel, ChrisSchnabel on Instagram, or Chris M as in M&M's, not the rapper, the candy, Schnabel on Twitter. I do not post more. I post more on Instagram, so if you really want to follow me, Instagram's the spot to do it. And make sure you go to Patreon, patreon.com/Schnabel Studios. Schnabel spelled Schnabel Studios, where you can support the channel. We're starting to get some giveaways together, so we can start giving some stuff out to people that start joining. We really haven't pushed it a lot, so I don't even know if we have a subscriber on there yet, other than people close to us, but we're going to start pushing it more. So it'll definitely be out there for people to do. So thank you so much again. I appreciate you coming out. Let's hit the end title screen and see you later. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching Mad Props. You can follow more Mad Props on Instagram and Twitter at Mad Props Pod. You can also follow Schnabel Studios, Schnabel, on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And go on YouTube and subscribe to them. Definitely subscribe on YouTube. The more subscribers, the better the content that can come out. Make sure you go to patreon.com/Schnabel Studios, Schnabel Studios, and support the channel if you can. Like, share, subscribe, and all that other stuff. Thank you for watching another episode of Mad Props.